Okay.
I was with my sister. We were buying something. And then and he looked confused, and I was like, should I make eye contact? Should I not? I'll be honest.
That's so interesting that this happened. Okay.
Right. And then so we ended up making eye contact, and he came up to me. I was like, oh no. What? And then I was like, but what if what if he doesn't speak English and he doesn't speak Korean? I was like stressing. And then he shows me his phone, and he was trying to find this 국수 집, like this noodle shop.
So a smaller place.
Right. And it was all in, I believe, Chinese,
Okay.
And then it had the name of the noodle shop, just the name of it in Korean, but I had never heard of it.
Okay.
And he was trying to use body language, saying, basically, how do I get here? And I was just like, I don't know.
Was he using this international app that we're talking about, or was he using one of the local Korean apps?
I don't even know.
You're not sure?
All I saw was I started sweating literally because it was all Chinese characters. And then
brain hurts.
And then the noodle shop name also was and then my sister, thankfully she knew. She's like, oh. And so she said, go straight and then turn left.
Right.
And then so she showed him, and it was close by. So
she gave the instructions to him in English.
In English. And then with body language,
right?
Go straight and turn left.
Okay, and that's exactly what Vivian Chen is apparently hoping for. She's hoping for.
Yes.
Well, this is way off topic, but somebody approached me in the supermarket 2 days ago.
And?
I guess I looked like I was lost. It was a Korean woman, and she asked me in English, "Do you need help?" And I was like, "No, thank you." And I was like,
"Blink
I look
once
like I
if you need help."
Okay.
No.
But I was on the other side of that experience.
Okay.
Yeah, but basically what you just mentioned there, that English kind of direction while you're walking, I didn't know that wasn't possible.
Yes.
I don't have that problem because I'm using the Korean version of these apps.
Yes, exactly.
So I was like, oh, wow, this is a thing for a lot of people. She says she might not come back because it's getting so frustrating.
Yes. Well, before we ran out of time, I want to get to our second story because I'm excited. Okay.
합시다.
Yes. What's it about?
Okay. So I'll give you the title. This has been reported in Bloomberg, CNBC, Reuters, also the UPI, South Korea group to help Chipotle expand into Southeast Asia. If you're not familiar, it is indeed a brand name.
Yes.
It's also the name of a smoked kind of chili that's used in Mexican cuisine. So it's not just that.
Of course.
And I think I know the answer. You're into Mexican food. You're excited to talk about this.
I'm so excited. I love Mexican food.
Okay.
Love. I literally make Mexican food at home. That's how much I love it.
Me too.
Yes.
Me too.
Do you make your own guac?
Yes, I do.
I do too.
Yes, I do.
With the cilantro that that you gifted me
when it actually is still alive.
Yes,
cilantro's done horribly this summer.
Right.
So, are you also familiar with the kind of ups and downs and waves of Mexican restaurants?
Every time I find a good Mexican place in Busan, and I frequent the place just so it doesn't shut down, and then it shuts down.
Okay. So
right?
I do know.
If you know, you know.
And sometimes it's not the best Mexican food you've ever had. And I've actually witnessed 2, I would say, great Mexican restaurants that have closed. And I do, they're tears every time.
Yes,
but
I cry.
Lately, if you're not familiar, there is a resurgence of interest that I can feel is going on here in Busan for Mexican food.
Thank goodness.
But do you think that's reflected anywhere else in Korea?
I don't know. I'm just so you know what? I am all for it.
Right.
I want every single brand Mexican food to come.
I understand.
It's so versatile. Yes.
But do you think they can succeed long term in Korea? Just your personal
experience.
This
particular brand that you mentioned, because it was news, I think it has a chance because it's known as, in air quotes, the healthier alternative.
Okay, and they're selling that.
Okay.
They're totally talking. They talked about that in every article I looked at.
Okay.
They say, according to the CEO of the company, there is. So they're not just talking about South Korea. They're always attaching it to Singapore because they're kind of testing them both out at the same time. But it is a South Korean company that's doing this. So they say real food prepared fast is in high demand in these markets. How would you define real food?
Real food, I just want it to be
did.
not as processed,
Right.
least processed as possible.
That's the appeal, right?
Yes.
So that's what they say. They're talking about using real ingredients that are prepared fresh every day. So do you think there's demand for that here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This whole, well-being trend, everybody's on a health trend, a kick.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm not going to say because of this brand, just any, any surgence of like Mexican food, I'm there.
We're looking for variety.
Yes.
And they mentioned that in this article as well, that people are interested in more variety. They also say because of, I don't know how this ties in, but South Korean K-pop artists and visiting people to the U.S., they have made this brand, people wear more of the brand. So,
all right.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're going to call it a wrap on today with you. But thank you so much, Casey. And of course, we'll check in with you next week. Thank you.
Right. Have some Mexican food this weekend.
All right. And by the way, before I wrap up hour number one, I do want to let you know we have some good news. The issue with YouTube has been fixed. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the live stream back on. So I do want to apologize for any inconvenience for troubling you. 네, 그래서 청취에 불편드려서 너무 죄송하고 사과드립니다. So join us for hour number two. In the meantime, this is By Summer by IU.
부산영어방송.
기업체 사장님들 아직도 직영으로 식당 운영하고 계십니까? 위탁급식과 도시락 전문 기업 더 좋은 푸드에 맡겨보십시오. 운영비 절감 효과 확실합니다. 식대는 협의 후 맞춰드립니다. 지역 부산 경남 문의 전화 051-784-0877.
랜드로버의 모든 것이 한 곳에 전시장과 서비스 센터가 만나 랜드로버 부산 센텀 컴플렉스 센터로 더 새로워졌습니다. 신차 상담에서 애프터 서비스까지 원스톱
행복한 일상을 이끌어가는 부산 사회서비스원이 함께합니다.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Welcome to Busan. Let me show you around. Here you can find the world's largest musical in-ground fountain and the world's only UN memorial cemetery. Stroll along the coast and explore the largest mountain fortress in Korea. As well as all this, there are so many tourist attractions, beautiful exhibitions, vibrant culture, convenient facilities, and delicious foods unique to Busan. With all the beauty and charm of the amazing city of Busan, you'll find yourself right at home in this ever-changing tourism paradise. So stay with us a while. Busan, your #1 tourist destination. Your home, away from home. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, Busan 영어방송.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
It's now 8 o'clock and we are back live on YouTube. This is the second hour of Morning Wave in Busan. We begin with Spotlight News. South Koreans detained in Georgia depart U.S. The chartered flight carrying 316 South Koreans and 14 foreign nationals is en route back home after having been detained in Georgia, the U.S., for a week. The group was released from a detention center in Folkestone, Georgia, early Thursday morning local time. They are due to arrive at Incheon International Airport around 3 p.m. today. While officials from both countries are working on solutions for specialists to be able to work on U.S. soil without future problems, industry insiders say that the raid and the detention may leave a deep scar on the country's economic ties and cast uncertainties for foreign investments in the U.S. President Lee Jae-myung emphasizes a principle and pragmatism in 100th Day press conference. President Lee Jae-myung yesterday held a press conference marking the 100th day in office, emphasizing the importance of principle in dealing with former President Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law-related insurrection investigation and trial. Lee said that one cannot make compromises in order to advance the administration's policy agenda, referring to the parliamentary party's deal involving the Special Counsel Revision Bill and the Government Reorganization Bill. Lee, however, presented a more flexible attitude for reforms involving the prosecution and the media, calling for a detailed, meticulous roadmap for the precarious issues. Parliament approves arrest motion for PPP lawmaker Kwon Sung-dong. The Democratic Party, or DP-led National Assembly yesterday approved the motion for the Special Counsel to arrest People Power Party, or PPP lawmaker Kwon Sung-dong in a 173-1 vote, allowing the court to hold a hearing to determine approving his arrest warrant. While the PPP boycotted the vote, Kwon himself voted in favor of the motion, saying that all of the special counsel's arguments against him are false. PPP floor leader Song Eun-seok said that this motion is a political special counsel and the DP's gift to President Lee Jae-myung on the 100th day of his term. Kwon, a prominent ally of former President Yoon Suk-yeol, faces charges of having allegedly received illicit political funding from the Unification Church. Coast Guard found dead after giving up life jacket. The body of the Coast Guard officer who had gone missing during a rescue mission was found yesterday with his funeral held under the chief of the Jungbu Coast Guard for 5 days. Senior Patrol Officer Lee Jae-seok gave his life jacket to an elderly Chinese national stranded in the mud marshes of Yeonghang-do Island. His body was found yesterday morning at sea. The family of the deceased has raised questions as to why he was the only officer on the scene, as Coast Guard rules stipulate that officers go out in a team of 2 for rescue missions, calling for a full investigation into the issue. Brazil's former President Bolsonaro found guilty of plotting coup. Former President of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro, has been found guilty of plotting a military coup by the country's Supreme Court. The 70-year-old far-right leader has been convicted of conspiring to keep himself in power after he lost the election in 2022 to the current president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. The charges could add up to over 40 years in prison, with sentencing scheduled for Friday local time. His lawyers are expected to appeal the case to a full Supreme Court bench. And this was Spotlight News. All right, it's time for Waggle Waggle, and need I say it again? We are back live streaming on the platform. And thank you for your patience. It was so difficult.
It was so hard staying silent. I mean, I think you people were working on it, but I was like, I have things to say.
It was painful.
That cannot be said.
Yes.
So I think I sent you a message on Kakao. Please read. It was during Casey's segment. I was like, I have comments that are just sitting here on my chest to be made.
And I was like, watching, the live stream like being shut down. It was painful. I almost cried. It was painful. Yes. Okay. Right. Now we're back. So, and by the way, I do want to thank all of our waivers for your patience and for all your support. It was beyond our control. It was not our fault. So anyhow, we're going to talk about the first story. I addressed information security involving telecom companies earlier. Now let's talk about the same issue, but with banks.
I know. And that is really a terrifying analogy when you said the Pandora's box has been opened in terms of security breaches in personal information. So here we're talking about voice phishing.
Yes.
In the last 5 years, there have been over 150,000 bank accounts that have been used for voice phishing and had to get shut down because they were used across criminal activities. And this is across 6 commercial banks in the country. This is according to data from the Financial Supervisory Service, FSS, released by People Power Party lawmaker Park Sung-hoon.
Yes.
So the 6 banks we're talking about are 국민신한, 하나, 우리 농협, and 기업. And that's based on the reports lodged to the FSS.
Yes.
So KB Bank, that was at the top of the list. They suspended over 34,000 accounts for voice phishing, taking the highest spot. Collectively, though, the number of suspended accounts increased every single year. And then coming to this year, in the first quarter of the year, over 10,000 accounts were suspended so far for Q1. So at this rate, just mathematically, that figure could exceed 40,000 for the first time.
Yes.
Regional banks, though, were not safe either. And unfortunately for us, Busan Bank suspended 4,508 accounts in the last 5 years, taking the top spot for regional banks. So lawmaker Park Sung-hoon, who released the figure, said that this number raises concerns of whether there's a serious hole in the country's financial security system and called on not only the banks but the investigation authorities and the financial authorities to strengthen their real-time information sharing in order to combat these criminal enterprises that are getting more and more sophisticated.
Indeed. So, we're talking about telecom, banks. Not a good thing. All right, let's move on and talk about this issue. The mayor of Gangneung is under scrutiny. I know our waivers, you've been mentioning this mayor on the chat for several days now. The city is really struggling with the worst drought ever on record, right?
Right. And some things are, of course, outside human control, including the rain, but how the city responds to it, that's been under fire.
Yes.
Basically, he allegedly ordered City Hall employees to go online and write positive reviews about the city and himself. So this is according to a civic group in Gangneung, which posted on their social media, saying that Mayor Kim Hong-gyu held an urgent meeting at City Hall on August 29th. This, by the way, was when Gangneung was starting to limit their water with 60 female employees specifically.
Okay.
And told them that there's a lot of misinformation and criticism online and throughout the media regarding the drought. He stated that such comments, they trigger the public and cost division and ordered employees to respond proactively. Fine, right, but how is really important because the cities can issue emergency alerts, public releases.
Right.
Those were not proposals. So he proposed correcting misinformation, spreading facts, writing and leaving comments online, particularly at mom cafes, these online communities. So not via official methods. And by the way, again, this is when criticism was high over the city's at least perceived lack of preparedness over the drought.
Okay, so big question. Did employees actually go online and, write these positive comments?
I mean, in terms of really getting that solid confirmation, we'll have to see. However, here are reports. They say that after this meeting, again, August 29th, there were comments that seemed to defend the city's action on these local mom cafes. Also, on the city's administrative systems board, where only public officials can have access to, there was a post that said, quote, I compliment the city's mayor, 시장님을 칭찬합니다. It questioned why the media and actually pointed to one specific media outlet. It's perceived to be fairly progressive, always criticizing the city, the employees, and the mayor. It just went on for quite some time how the mayor is running around day and night to try to secure water and raise public awareness, and goes on about the mayor's policies, saying that this person, the writer, is reassured they can depend on this captain to lead them through these the high seas, uncharted waters.
Okay.
Ending the post with, thank you, Mr. Mayor, I respect you. So the civic community, that released this story posted this plus some 100 positive comments that were on this particular post.
Okay.
Again, saying, well, it was only accessible to public servants. So the group said that all of the city's resources should go towards overcoming the drought. And this unfortunately shows that the mayor may have spent at least part of this time trying to change public opinion in favor of himself. An official from the city has responded, saying that the city is facing difficulties on many fronts and the intention behind this action was to correct misinformation.
I see. Well, we're going to leave that story there for now. So up next, there has been this series of attempted kidnappings across the country as of late. We've talked about a few of them.
Right. And we're talking about this via our text topic, adjacent.
Yes.
And, it takes a village to raise kids, but then how safe is that village in this day and age?
I don't know.
So many cases are happening across the country. In Jeju, a man in his 30s allegedly approached a girl, elementary school age girl, and started talking to her, allegedly asked her if she was interested in a part-time job, but of a sexual nature. She said no, and this girl was whip smart. She moved to the back of the car to check out his license plate.
Oh.
He noticed that and drove off very quickly. She still caught the license plate. She walked straight over to the police station.
Oh my gosh.
And told them the make and model of the car and the license plate. And the police were able to catch him in about 3 hours.
Wow.
Right. So this is what we should be educating our children on. But unfortunately, we really do hope we won't have to have kids go through that.
Yes.
But still, in Incheon, a man in his 60s offered a ride to a middle school girl who was practicing jogging or running. In Seoul's Gwanakgu, a man in his 60s tried to grab an elementary school student by hand and he was apprehended by the police. It just goes on and on, by the way. So, yeah.
Well, of course, that one girl, that case, as Leslie says, that is so amazing, so smart. Absolutely. What seems to be the intent or motivation behind these attempted kidnappings? Of course, we can't get into the mind of every person, but generally,
Right.
yes.
So, and this was interesting. In the past, like back in our days, kidnappings, they often led to ransom requests, money, extortion, right? However, these types of crimes where you do kidnap a child and contact the parents, that involves extensive planning, like knowing the background of the child and making sure you don't get caught.
Yes.
Well, now experts are saying that these more haphazard, seemingly spontaneous cases seem to be connected more to a sexual nature, so pedophilia. However, there are no specifics in domestic criminal statistics on which of the crimes perpetrated against minors were of sexual nature versus of financial nature. So experts are saying that parents and teachers must educate their children and train them on how to act during these suspicious situations.
Yes.
Yelling loudly when a stranger approaches you. The police, for their part, they're dispatching over 55,000 officers across all 6,000 elementary schools nationwide for intensive patrol before and after school.
Yes.
They'll also work together with parents groups and volunteers to increase patrols and boosting CCTV surveillance. For police, they told parents and teachers for kidnapping prevention to inform your children, please do not take any money, gifts, or snacks from strangers. Never get into strangers' cars and call 112 if something seems even remotely suspicious.
Yes, so we need to, of course, educate our little ones from early on, unfortunately.
Right.
All right, for our final story, we're going to talk about NASA. NASA made an announcement about possible life on Mars. Is this real?
Maybe it is real. So
Okay.
this was after a full year of extensive review. NASA announced that there may be marks of ancient life on Mars. So acting NASA Administrator Sean Duffy said that the rover Perseverance sampled what are called these leopard spots, obviously not from an actual leopard, but the scattered spots seem like a leopard print on a rock on Mars.
Okay.
Scientists analyzed the spots for a year because that's what they do and basically ruled out any other possibility at this point. So this could very well be the clearest sign of a life humanity has ever found on the red planet.
Wow, so we want to know more about this, the details of the sample.
Right, so the leopard spots were from this spot called the Sapphire Canyon, was collected by the rover Perseverance in a region where water once did flow into a crater, but that once, meaning a long time ago, was 3 billion years ago.
Okay, that's a long time ago.
Space is astounding.
Yes.
Scientists have been intrigued by this rock because it has the potential to reveal whether microscopic life ever existed on Mars, aka outside Earth.
Yes.
However, of course, this is not conclusive, nowhere near conclusive. They will have to do a lot of extensive work, eventually bringing the samples from Mars to Earth and analyzing them up front on a terrestrial, meaning Earth lab. However, regarding this announcement, NASA did say that today we are really showing you how we are kind of one step closer to answering humanity's one of the most profound questions. Are we truly alone in the universe?
Are we?
Are we?
No, I don't know. It's kind of scary, and we have our producer and assistant producer like shaking, doing this. But that is like one of like life's profound questions.
Right.
So.
And we're not even talking about, your ETs,
like green Martians.
Green Martians abducting humans, but at least traces of life.
Okay. Well, thank you for going over all the Woggly news and being so patient. Well,
I'm going to go talk online.
Okay. Get it all out.
Yeah.
Well, we'll check in with you on Monday. Thank you, Haley.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. This was Haley with Wagga Wagga. Let's get to your traffic and weather. It's now 8:17, and here is your traffic update. First up, there is an accident to report on. This is on Suyeongno from the Daenam intersection to Yongso three-way intersection. This is a collision between a car and a bus right by the exit of Gyeongsang University Station. Next up, Gwangan Bridge. It is congested on that top portion. It's also backed up on Byeongno right around the Wondong ramp going away from the city, and again from Dan ramp to Gwangan Tunnel. There's traffic on Nakdong-Namdo to from Hadan intersection to Hagwon Bridge. It's also slow moving on Chungjangdaero from pier number 5 to pier number 4. Currently, it's 25 degrees Celsius under partially cloudy skies here in Busan. It's expected to go up to 28 with rain forecast for later tonight. So it's basically going to rain across most of the country today, starting in Jeju and Jeonnam, and it's going to spread to the rest of the country by the afternoon. For the weekend, rain to continue through tomorrow with similar temperatures as today. The rain is expected to stop by Sunday, and it's going to be hot again, going up to 31 on Sunday. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for a special interview on this Friday morning. So last Sunday, Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba announced his resignation a little less than a year since he took office. So his departure from the Liberal Democratic Party, or LDP, leaves behind major challenges for his successor, including the task of restoring public trust and ensuring political stability. So this sudden leadership change has also raised questions about the LDP's internal dynamics and the direction of Japan's domestic and foreign policies. So beyond Japan, Ishiba's resignation is being closely watched here in South Korea, as of course, it could influence the future of Korea-Japan relations and, of course, the broader East Asian security issue as well. Joining us today is Mr. Tobias Harris, founder and principal of Japan Foresight. And from what I understand, this is a Japan-focused political risk advisory firm. Let's say hi. Hi, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Yes. So first of all, Prime Minister Ishiba's resignation, from what I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, was largely driven by pressure within the LDP. So if this is true, can you confirm and maybe tell us about the main reasons that party members actually maybe pushed him to step down?
Yeah, I mean, so of course the trigger, the approximate trigger was, 6 weeks or so ago, the LDP lost upper house elections to the point where the government now does not have a majority in the upper house. And of course, last year lost a majority in the lower house as well. And so Ishiba came out of that election. The LDP doesn't like losing elections. It certainly doesn't like having a leader lead it to 2 straight national electoral defeats. And so he was really on thin ice after that. He managed to dig in and hold on and fight it out, basically until the LDP could finish an analysis of what went wrong in the election. And now, just over a week ago, the party came out with its report on the election, and it pointed to a number of different reasons, many of which really were laid at Ishiba's feet, really not just immediately before the election and during the campaign, but really his leadership ever since he took over last year. That the party just has fallen out of touch with the public, really has lost voters that they've been able to win with in the past. And there's a feeling, I think, really almost an existential crisis within the party. How does the LDP bring back voters that they'd successfully won in the past? And I think there's a feeling that the first step in that process has to be replacing the leadership.
Yes. So when we talk about him and Ishiba's departure, how might that reshape the balance power first within the LDP, but also, with the LDP versus the other political parties?
Well, I mean, the party's in a really tricky situation because the fight over Ishiba's departure, but really the last 18 months or so have really revealed some pretty deep divisions within the party. And so, you really need a leader who, is there a leader who's going to unite the party? Because really it's hard to do anything effectively if there's not solid control of the party.
Right.
So they need a leader who can do that. They need a leader who can somehow find a way to have stable control of the diet where the government does not have majorities in either house. And so there's hope that you could have a new leader who might bring in a new coalition partner and then give the government a majority back. So that's an option. That's another factor that they're considering.
Okay.
Of course, they're also thinking about Japan's place in the world, right? You just had these pretty contentious trade talks with the United States, so you want a leader who can also work with the United States, who can also work with leaders like President Lee and other regional leaders and be an effective representative of Japan on the world stage. And also, they need someone who's going to reconnect, modernize the party, reach out to voters the party has lost. And it's a lot of different tasks. It cuts a lot of different directions. And it's hard to think, is there one person who can do all of these things well and save the party? Or is this just going to be a switch that buys the LDP some time, but ultimately, we're going to see the party lose another election within the next couple of years?
Ah, yes, indeed. And so here in Korea, many people closely watching, as you said, how this might affect those bilateral ties, Korea and Japan. Do you think that a leadership change could create opportunities for improvement, or do you think that, tensions might be coming our way depending on who the next leader is?
There's certainly a possibility that you could see a swing to the right in the LDP. And of course, when the LDP right has been in control, there's often been more tensions because they are not nearly as invested. And of course, seeing a combination between a relatively progressive Korean government and a more conservative Japanese government would, we have seen this show before, I guess, so to speak.
Right.
So that would be some cause for concern. The one maybe hopeful sign is that that I think there has been so much progress in the last several years bilaterally, of course, originally in the trilateral framework, but I think now much more attention on bilateral cooperation. And so we'd have to see, but I think there's been maybe enough awareness in Tokyo, certainly within the broader kind of political establishment in Tokyo, that there's a need for Japan needs all the friends it can get, and finding ways of working with South Korea is imperative. And I think, of course, there's been appreciation for the kind of pragmatism from the Lee administration in its early months, and so that could go a long way, even if the LDP picks a more conservative leader. I mean, there's no guarantee of that at this point, but it is worth keeping in mind.
Yes. Speaking of potential leaders, some names that have been thrown around: Sanae Takaichi, Shinjiro Koizumi. Could you explain maybe these are, by the way, if you could confirm, are those some of the names that you're seeing as well as potential frontrunners?
So those are the names most commonly mentioned as likely frontrunners. Neither has officially entered the race yet, although will seem likely to do so within the next week or so. So far, among the leaders we have seen are Toshimitsu Motegi, who was a foreign minister, and he's been a head of the LDP. He's been a number of very senior jobs.
Yes.
So we've seen Takayuki Kobayashi, who was an economic security minister, is sort of a younger generational change conservative. So he's also entered the race. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshimasa Hayashi, who is very close with former Prime Minister Kishida, he's very likely to run as well. So there's a lot of people who are familiar, a lot of people maybe who there's reason to be more hopeful about or less hopeful about. And Hayashi's involvement in the rapprochement under Kishida, and he was foreign minister under Kishida. There's reason to see him as someone who, if he wound up as the prime minister, would be committed to building the relationship further, and is someone who I think really sees value in Japan having good relationships within its region. And so that is probably one of the more hopeful candidates in the field so far.
I see. Thanks for explaining. In terms of this resignation and the upcoming leadership transition and how this will affect Japan's role in the region, particularly when it comes, obviously between, South Korea, the Japan relationships, which we went over. But what about things like North Korea, China, and also the Japan-U.S. alliance as well?
These are really big questions, and really, maybe the biggest question, of course, is what is the future of the relationship with the United States? This really is a precarious moment. That I think there is a profound. Certainly among the public, I think a feeling, kind of loss of trust. I mean, polls have shown that there's been a real decline in the Japanese people's trust in the United States. I think there was something of a sense of betrayal in the trade talks. Yes, they got a deal done, but I think, a sense that the United States did not treat Japan particularly fairly. And I think there are some real questions in Japan about, just how reliable an ally will the United States be going forward. And so there's lots of thinking happening quietly, but it is happening about, what Japan needs to do to secure itself. Of course, I think whoever leads the LDP is going to try to keep the United States happy. None of them want to be responsible for pushing the United States away. But there's going to be a lot more work on developing alternate relationships, strengthening Japan's own defense capabilities. And that will happen, I think, regardless of who the leader is. I think there's a real consensus emerging on Japan's choices. And it's not really going to matter which leader wins. I mean, maybe, if you get a more conservative leader, they're going to be more enthusiastic about spending more on defense. But in general, the consensus has been in favor of more defense spending anyway. So I don't think there's a lot of sharp divisions within the LDP on these questions.
I see. Well, as we wrap up, any last words, anything else that you want to add to our conversation today to kind of let us know, educate us on the situation right now?
It's the LDP hasn't had a lot of moments like this. And, there really is, fundamentally, for a number of different reasons. I mean, the party is just very behind the times, feeling very disconnected from, a growing share of the electorate. And, this is part of the reason why we've seen these sort of new conservative populist parties emerge in Japan, that there's just a real feeling of, that the LDP just it's speaking to an increasingly small part of the electorate, and that there are voters who are wanting more, who want more from the government, and the LDP has not found a way to address those needs. And so really that is going to be the thing to watch going forward, because if they can't, the kind of turmoil, uncertainty, chaos in Japanese politics that we've seen is likely to continue for the indefinite future if the LDP can't correct its course under a new leader.
Yes. Well, all eyes will also be from Korea on what happens in Japan. So thanks so much for coming on air with us and giving us your opinion and expertise. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
This was Tobias Harris, and we talked about this change in Japan politics. We don't know who the front runner is or who is likely to take over, but of course we will keep close tabs on the situation. So we're going to take a short song break. Here it is. This is A Higher Place by Adam Levine.
Town
BEFM Morning Wave in Busan Fall Outdoor Special Stage. Fall for English-friendly Busan. What does it mean to live in an English-friendly Busan? And what role does English play as Busan rises as a global hub city?
올 가을 여러분에게 영어하기 편한 도시 부산으로 가는 길을 안내합니다.
This fall, on September 27th, Saturday at 3 p.m., join us for a special outdoor stage event at F1963 Open Square, featuring a thought-provoking panel with a professional English educator, Lee Bo-young, British broadcaster Peter Bint, K-pop idol Aron, and me, Catherine. Plus, enjoy a special live performance by Busan's English-friendly city ambassador Kim Jo-han and singer-songwriter Coffee Sonyeon. BEFM Morning Wave in Busan Fall Outdoor Special Stage. Fall for English-friendly Busan.
9월 27일 토요일 오후 3시 F1963 오픈스퀘어에서 여러분을 기다립니다.
So as you heard in that spot, yes, join us on the 27th. It's going to be a lot of fun. And you heard the list of people who are going to be there, the panelists, including somebody that's coming up on air in the next corner with us. So Tommy was asking, was it yesterday? Like, who's hosting? Once again, I will be hosting because I'm the host of Morning Wave. So I will be there. Our entire staff will be there. And our producer, Yeji PDD, she'll be there. So for those of you who are wondering, who always want her on camera, on the mic, you can also see her there too. And with that, let's get to global affairs. It's time for Global Affairs, and guess who's here? This is Professor Andrew Millard, and he will be there. You'll be there, right? Provoking thoughts.
I will be there. I'll provoke thoughts.
Yes.
That's what I'm good at.
So, yes, thank you ahead of time for joining us for that very special
My
day.
pleasure.
I have a text topic for you.
Okay.
Okay, so when did you start going to school by yourself? And then, meaning like when you're really little, not like as a professor.
Like, you mean like from leaving home?
Going to school. Like how did you? Yeah. So did you go to school on your own, or like did you have to take a bus, or did mom drive you?
So for a long time, my mum drove me.
Yes.
But it wasn't too far. So I think from around maybe age 13-ish, 13, 14, I rode my bike.
Oh.
Because it wasn't too far to school.
Like how long of a bike ride was it from home to school?
Like 3 hours.
3 hours? Like through
joking.
snow, traversing over mountains?
By bike, maybe 10 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad.
So it really wasn't that far.
Oh.
But I also liked riding.
Yeah, because you have freedom.
Yeah.
You're away from mom. Well, just kidding.
But it wasn't fun because, as you know, English weather, British weather's not the best.
Oh,
so it did rain a lot. And I did have to take spare trousers.
I have a question for you. So now that I'm curious, so you rode your bike. So what is the legal, like the minimum, the age where you can start driving? You can get a driver's license.
You can start learning to drive at age 16. And I think you can even take your theory test at age 16. But you have to be 17 to actually take your test.
Oh, okay. Because in California, it's 15. You can get your driver's permit, which is like the theory. Yeah. You take the written test. And then on your 16th birthday, everybody like kind of takes a day off from school with permission from your parents, and then you go take your driver's license exam on your birthday. That's kind of a tradition. So it's like a 1 year difference.
Right.
Okay.
Well, 16 is quite young, though.
Yeah, because with the hormones and your brain isn't fully formed, and like, do we really want to put teenagers behind
exactly
the wheel of a car? But yes, that's a different topic. We're going to jump into global affairs. What do you have for us today?
So, as you may know, at the end of this month, so in a couple of weeks, there is the United Nations General Assembly in New York. And this month, just coincidentally,
yes,
South Korea also holds the presidency of the rotating presidency of the United Nations Security Council.
Right.
So I don't want to talk too much about the General Assembly later in the month. I'm sure that'll be covered in a couple of weeks. But I thought maybe we talk just a little bit about the Security Council, what it is, and why it's important that South Korea has the presidency. And there's a little extra because it's also the General Assembly, makes it quite an important month for Korea.
Right. And so from what I mean, there are permanent members,
right,
and then there are non-permanent members, right? So can you explain all of this from the basics?
In total, the United Nations has 193 members.
Okay.
But that is just for the General Assembly, where they discuss global topics together and try to come up with solutions. The Security Council is where they focus on security issues. So international security, conflict, maybe human rights, disease, things like that. So it's much smaller. So there's 15 members in total. 5 of them are the permanent members, which are the UK, US, France, China, and Russia.
Okay.
And those 5 members have veto powers.
Yes.
Which is a little bit controversial. That one maybe we can talk about another day.
Okay.
Because I can talk for a long time about that. I can provoke thoughts
some
about
thoughts,
that.
right. Because like the idea, though, that one country could just say no.
Right, which happens.
Yes.
It happens a lot. And then if one country says no, then nothing happens.
Exactly.
So it's a strange, outdated system. But they then have 10 non-permanent members, which they sit in the council for 2 years. And every month, based on alphabetical order, each member basically has what we call the presidency. So the presidency, it's quite important because if you hold the presidency for that month, then you get to determine what goes on the agenda, which means you determine what is discussed in the Security Council.
Okay.
So, I mean, sometimes obviously there may be some crisis, in which case that'll sort of take precedence over the sort of predetermined agenda. But if you sort of set the agenda, you can try and focus a little bit on topics that are a little bit more closer to your own country.
Absolutely, I get it.
Promote yourself a little more.
Yeah.
So South Korea, a little bit of a history, joined the UN in 1991. So it's not been there that long. But it's been a member of the Security Council 3 times now. So the first time was 96 and 97.
Right.
Then it was 2013, 2014. And right now, 2024, 2025.
Yes.
So they're actually coming towards the end of this term, which means from January, probably for the next 7 or 8 years, something like that, they won't be a member of the Security Council.
Okay.
So it's important that right now, with the last few months left, that they take this opportunity to really promote South Korea as much as possible.
Yes. So now we have a better understanding of the 10 non-permanent members. They're on a rotating basis. And how important the presidency is, holding it for that specific time period, right? Yes. So, and then what? What else do we need to know?
Well, so South Korea this month, they've determined the agenda. It's been a little bit controversial. So basically on the agenda, they've put AI. So I personally think this one is a pretty good topic for South Korea.
Right.
Because South Korea is a technologically advanced country.
Yes.
I think one of the leaders in the world for technology and IT and things. I personally am not. But Korea is.
But yes, Korea
so
is tech
there's
savvy.
AI, international security issues, and challenges to democracy, which I think President Lee will talk about in the General Assembly as well.
I see.
So those are the main issues on the agenda. They have not included North Korea. And so there were quite a few people were a little bit surprised that they didn't include North Korea.
Challenges to democracy, but not specifically anything related to North Korea. So is that the controversial part, or is there more controversy?
It's maybe controversial wasn't the right
word, but
surprising.
Okay.
Yes. So just because, back in 2023, South Korea just before they rejoined the council,
Yes.
they hosted a meeting in the council about human rights issues in North Korea.
Okay.
So I think everyone was just sort of waiting for North Korea again to be one of the main issues on the agenda, especially because lately North Korea's position has really changed a lot.
Yes.
It's becoming very emboldened. So we saw in the
Yes.
what's the word? The parade, the military
parade in China?
Sorry, I
Yes.
forget English sometimes.
I was like, what is he fishing for?
The military parade in China.
Yes.
We could see Kim Jong-un standing right next to shoulder with Chairman Xi and Vladimir Putin, President
Yes.
Putin,
Right.
which was sort of unprecedented because they are not at the same level.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
whether this was what we call visual politics, visual politics is where basically you manipulate the situation to produce an image of what
Yes.
you want people to assume. So whether behind the scenes really they are that close, we're not too sure. But definitely in the military parade, it looked like they're very close.
I see.
And so I think a lot of people are expecting South Korea to put this on the agenda so that we can discuss sort of going forward how we approach denuclearization,
Right.
Human rights issues in North Korea and so on. But personally,
Yes.
I actually think it was a good decision that they didn't put it on.
Oh, and why?
Because, so like we just said, the North Korean position has changed.
Yes.
They are becoming emboldened. They're really sort of becoming more visual
Yes.
on the global stage.
Right.
However, South Korea's position hasn't really changed. For South Korea, it's pretty much the same old.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So, like I said before, this is sort of coming to the end of their term in the Security Council. They should be promoting what South Korea can do.
I
With
see.
North Korea, they can't really do anything. Nothing's going to
Okay.
change. Let's face it. So I think it's right to say, you know what, look, we'll leave North Korea to the side. If something happens, like in a crisis, then we'll bring it back to the table.
Okay.
But let's focus on, like I said, AI, what South Korea can become a global leader in.
Yes.
What it has these expertise in. And then also international security. That one, maybe they're not necessarily a global leader, but they want to show that they're willing to participate on the global stage.
I see. So strategically, maybe choosing, as you say, the topics that might kind of showcase or highlight what
Right.
Korea's good at.
So bring the focus not on North Korea, but
Right.
on South Korea.
Okay.
So
I
think
fully
that's,
understand.
in my opinion, maybe some of our listeners will disagree. But
And it's okay to disagree.
it's okay,
Yes.
of course.
That's the whole point, right?
Yes. But President Lee, he will be in New York for the General Assembly.
Yes.
At the same time, the day after, he's going to go to the Security Council
Right.
and personally chair one of the meetings in the council.
Okay.
Which, again, this is unusual because usually it's the ambassadors of the countries
Yes.
that sort of do the meetings. It's the first time ever that a South Korean president is chairing one of the Security Council
see.
meetings.
So-
that is going to focus on AI. And like I said, his General Assembly, I think he's expected to talk about democracy and challenges to Western democracy.
Yes. So of course, that is coming up real soon, and we can look forward to that and see what becomes of President Lee chairing that UN
Right.
Security Council meeting. And of course, as you already schooled us in, that at the end of December, you schooled us today. You educated us.
Were you provoked?
Yes, my thoughts were provoked. We're going to make fun of that spot until we get to the 27th. But yes, the term ending in December,
Right.
South Korea on the as a non-permanent member,
Right, non-permanent member,
yes,
yeah.
of the Security Council. But thank you so much for expanding our minds and provoking
My
thoughts
pleasure.
as well.
I'll be here next week to provoke some more.
Yes, we like. But thank you and have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
Everybody, this was Global Affairs. And, earlier, I don't know if some of you tuned in to hour number one. Once again, I do apologize on behalf of, just everybody, whoever was involved. Yeah, the YouTube it was lagging. It wasn't working. And so we had to cut the live stream short. But as you can see right now, everything is back to normal. And so if we can inconvenience you, we do apologize. And I want to get to some of your messages because we haven't had a chance to mention your responses. By the way, Kate on Kakao saying, "Hi, Kat. I will be there." And I was like, oh, where are you going to be? September 27th to our special open stage. And she's saying it's so exciting. No, I'm so excited. In all the years that I've hosted Morning Wave in Busan, I don't know why. We've never done like an open stage event. All the other shows have. But, we're always like a news program, current events. So we're like, how can we do this? But we are fully excited as well to be hosting this once again, September 27th at F1963. So join us if you can. And looking at some of your responses, a lot of people saying that they actually walk to school with their friends together. That's a common thing that I'm seeing here. And then Leslie, who's in Colorado, she mentions the term latchkey kids. Do you guys know what that is? In Korea, everybody has the little the key code press thingy on your door. But, in homes across the U.S., people still use the turn key. You have lots of keys, right? And so the term latchkey kid meaning your parents, especially if they were dual income earners and they were out and about, then you had your own key to your home. Some if they're young, they wear it around their neck, and then you turn the key to get into your home. And sometimes you're kind of alone, but you still have that village, right? Friends and family and neighbors that are out there to kind of watch out for each other. So that's what that means. Well, thank you for tuning in today. And of course, I wish you a wonderful weekend. We have a song request from Leslie. She says it's Namjoon's birthday today. So for those of you who are wondering, that is not, her relative. Not by blood anyway. We're talking about RM from BTS. So we're going to play that song request. This is Hectic by RM, wishing you nothing but the best for this weekend. And of course, happy birthday to Namjoon. So enjoy and join us on Monday. Bye, everybody.
Yesterday was a hot day. There was nothing romantic. If I can just find a reason to keep this endless chase. Yesterday was a hot day. There was nothing romantic. If I could only imagine, just want another heaven. 또 적은 나의 웃음, 내가 빠진 추억들, 할 말이 없는 사람들을 돌고 도는 liquid talks. 하루 더 죽어가는 느낌, 밤에 올림픽대로 영영한 불빛, 난폭한 택시 이젠 지겨워져. 난 people hate the reason born in this blind. How should we do this guy? Kept on thinking and I. Yesterday was a hot day. There was nothing romantic. If I can just find a reason to keep this endless chase. Yesterday was a hot day. There was nothing romantic. If I could only imagine, just want another heaven. Yeah. 어디로 가는지도 모르게 적어 내려갔던 시도 어느덧 걸어온 그 길이 되었네. 지난 기억 속에 더 이상 길을 잃고 싶지 않은 날 좀 구해줘. Make the people talking same. Had the reason. Got the outspin. If burning is a pain, how shall we do this game? Keep on thinking, and I. Yesterday was a hot day. There was nothing romantic. If I can just find a reason endless chaser. Yes, that